We've had Tina, our border collie, for 1 year this month. I can't believe it. The time has absolutely flown by and it's been a bit of an adventure. I'm not going to lie. I'm a first time dog owner. In the UK, I only ever had rabbits and at one point a couple of goldfish. But it never crossed my mind, in all honesty, that I would ever own a dog. I used to be quite afraid of dogs, a little bit wary of them, in part because being a police officer, I naturally came across dogs who were quite aggressive because they had been trained to be that way by their owners. And so I always had my guard up whenever I met a dog for the first time. And I'd only really relax once I really got to know that dog, and I'd met them a few times. But there's something about living here in Italy. It seems like everybody here has a dog. And slowly but surely, I started to soften a little bit. And as more and more people I knew had dogs and I got to know their dogs, I started to really consider the idea of becoming a dog owner myself. And I have to be honest with you, it is a decision that I absolutely do not regret. It has changed me in so many ways. And I can't imagine not having Tina with us now. She's become such a part of our lives. And it's a really beautiful thing. But there are a lot of things I've learned from this past year, which I thought I'd dive a bit deeper into in today's episode. Because you see, owning a dog is a huge responsibility. And I do think people consider this absolutely, like it's almost drilled into you to really be sure that you want to have a dog. But I think sometimes you don't realize just how it's going to impact your life. So we brought Tina home in May of last year. And because we had to wait for her full vaccination cycle to complete before she could leave the house, it meant we spent the entire summer pretty much in our apartment because we didn't want to leave her on her own. And of course, we couldn't take her out for walks. So it meant that we didn't really go to the beach very much. We didn't really have a normal summer. And on the one hand, it was lovely because, of course, we had a new addition in our lives. We were looking after her. We were getting to know her. We were helping her to train her. But on the other hand, it was bloody difficult because it was so hot and our apartment was on the top floor and it used to be absolutely boiling all day long and into the night. And so it wasn't easy to make that initial adjustment. Not only that, but also owning a dog in an apartment, I actually think isn't a good idea. And I think, I can say this now because had we not moved to where we live now, we would still be living in that apartment and Tina would still be there with us. But now I've seen the change in her character. Now she has a garden space. Now she's running around. I see how different she is as a dog. And I see that she is now the border collie that she was always meant to be. She was only part border collie in a way when she lived in an apartment because as much as we took her out, we took her to dog parks, we took her for daily walks, she is the type of dog that needs to have a job and a task. And she didn't really have that in the apartment, but now she does. She keeps the lizards out of our garden. That is her job. I've not seen one lizard since she started this task. She's very good. The lizards are her sheep. But it is this, I hand on heart can say that it really does depend on the breed of dog as to whether or not you have an apartment dog. I think Tina absolutely is definitely not an apartment dog. And, I see the difference now. Now she has this outdoor space and she is, more active than she probably ever has been. So I can tell you firsthand that actually when you get a dog, it's so important to research everything, research the breed, research the amount of exercise it needs, research what the breed is like if you have to leave it on its own for a couple of hours, because some dogs like Tina, especially at the beginning, will suffer from separation anxiety and will become quite distressed if you have to leave them alone for a short period of time. And I think also it's about recognizing the impact it's going to have on your life. There are so many positive aspects to having a dog, but there's no denying it. It's also a really huge responsibility in terms of, making sure that you're looking after the dog, you're taking the dog for regular checkups, you're also buying the dog what it needs in terms of food and in terms of an appropriate bed and toys and things like this. But also you've got to think if you go away on holiday, you are then going to have to consider what you do with your dog if your dog cannot come with you. So it really does change your outlook and perspective on life. But in a way for me, it has made me realize even more so than I think I've ever realized that dogs are far better than humans. I have to be honest with you. Have a bit of a love-hate relationship with humans in general. I think I've met some incredible people in my life and I still know some incredible people to this day, but I've also met other people who, well, they clearly came into my life to teach me a lesson. Absolutely. Like there's no doubt about that. And I'm really grateful for the lessons that they taught me. But I've just met people that are so intrinsically selfish. Like, they do things for their own benefit, not because it's truly what, they want to do for you. And this is how we are hardwired as humans. Even the nicest person that you've ever met is primarily interested in themselves. Like, when people ask you to do things, it's because of something that they need for themselves. When people are nice to you and they help you, there's usually some kind of benefit or gain that they get from that experience. Like this is just our DNA as humans. There's no denying it. It doesn't matter what kind of person you are. We are all interested in ourselves and in our own benefits and gains. And so there's something about owning a dog, though, that shifts that perspective because dogs are incredibly loyal and loving, even if you're cross with them, even if they've been really naughty and you tell them off and, you make them understand that they were wrong and you try to teach them the right behavior. They are incredibly loyal and adoring of you always. And it's such a beautiful thing because the dogs want to serve you. So Tina, as a border collie, she's always wanting to please us. She always likes to do things that make us happy. And it's a wonderful thing to see this from an animal and to give Tina the love that she deserves in return for this. I just feel that like owning a dog gives you a sense of companionship that I don't really think any human can. And the reason I say this is because humans can be so flaky. I've spoken about this in other episodes, but one minute they're your best friend, the next you don't know them anymore. One minute people are really heavily invested in what you're doing, the next they don't talk about it with you. One minute, people are raving about you, they love what you do, they are super supportive, and the next it's like silence. Like this is human behavior, but dogs are not like that, and this is why I think dogs are the best companions. Yet yes, you can't have a conversation with them, of course, but just to know that you have their unwavering support all the time, no matter what you do, they are there beside you. And that is a really, really beautiful thing. So I have to be honest with you, like, I never thought I would be a dog owner, but this whole process has taught me so much. You have to adapt your life. You have to be realistic about your environment and giving the dog what it deserves. Some humans are so selfish and oblivious to the needs of dogs. Dogs need mental stimulation. They are not designed to just sit on the floor of a building all day and do nothing. They need mental stimulation. And a lot of people don't realize this. People buy dogs sometimes almost as an aid to help people, sometimes maybe as a kind of therapy. And in some ways, that can be beautiful if the dog is given an adequate life. But in other ways, having a dog does not solve your problems. It just adds to them in the sense that you have more responsibilities and things to think about. So I never think that a dog should be a kind of pill, if you like, for feeling better about your situation. I kind of feel like it is a relationship and it is a commitment, and you have to be prepared for that. So I think to wrap up this kind of episode where I've just been talking about everything that the past 12 months has taught me, I think I want to say that owning a dog will change your life. And I think if you can lean into the process and you can adapt and change accordingly, it can be one of the most rewarding experiences you've ever had. And I honestly think that if you live here in Italy, there can be many benefits to owning a dog here. There are so many places that are dog friendly. It's completely different to how it is in the UK. You can take the dogs here into supermarkets and designated trolleys. You can take the dogs into the majority of shops here, even into some restaurants, and they are treated as if they are part of your family. And it's a really wonderful thing. And not only that, but also it enables you to meet new people, because people here are like magnets to dogs and to children as well. And so, people will come up and talk to you. They'll want to know the dog, especially with fellow dog owners as well. When you're walking around, it's an opportunity to have a conversation with someone. So I honestly think if you can look after a dog appropriately and you have the means and ability to do so, owning a dog here in Italy especially can be a really, really wonderful experience. Even more so if you've moved here on your own, because you have that sense of companionship. but you also have the ability to potentially meet new people as well, just through the fact that you have a dog, and it can help you to mix with other people a lot more easily. Owning Tina has been transformational, and I cannot wait to continue to grow, learn, develop as she gets older, and all the lessons that being a dog owner brings. It's a huge responsibility, but it is also one of the most beautiful things that you can do. And so, if you've been thinking about having a dog, maybe this episode might have just inspired you. I will see you in the next episode.